Good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are in the world. I am thrilled to invite you to this Flower Essence Healing Circle. And this is the first one that I've done that has been on a particular theme. And I'm hoping to make that more of a frequent thing in future workshops. And so we have a couple coming up that I'll mention at the end. But welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad that you are interested in tonight's theme, which is on vibrational essences for pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Hopefully that's why you're here. If not, the other door may be that way. But hopefully this is a topic that you're interested in, either for yourself or for your clients or for your patients if you're a practitioner. And tonight we'll be talking about what vibrational essences are, and obviously flower essences are in that category, but I've expanded the category to include things like gemstone essences, which are becoming a more fundamental part of my practice because gemstone essences are very grounding. So I love to add a gemstone or two or maybe even three into different custom blends. So vibrational essences includes all of the different essences. So that'd be flowers and gemstones and even mushroom essences and anything else that people decide to make an essence out of. Environmental essences is another category. And tonight we'll be talking about specific essences for pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. So which essences we can use for which stages of that childbirth experience. And maybe there are certain ones that we can use for actually different times of that childbirthing experience. So there's some that will have multiple uses depending on where we're at. And then of course each section is going to be accompanied by a mini healing experience. So I'm actually going to share the healing frequencies of these flowers with you wherever you are in the world. So I hope you enjoy that experience. I'm trying something new. So a little bit about me. I am Ashley Grange. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. I have been working online and in person since 2013. So this is my 10th anniversary coming up in just a couple months of being in clinical practice. And I am also a certified flower essence practitioner. I've been using flower essences for over 10 years. And if you go to the About page on my website, you can read a little bit about the story and the the medical doctor that actually got me interested in flower essences so many years ago. And it's quite a surprising story, I think, because it's not what we expect when it comes to a natural health modality like this. I'm also the founder of Inner Plant Wisdom, and we craft high vibe vibrational essences for people, pets, and plants. And yes, you can use vibrational essences for all of these categories, which makes it really a universal and really all-purpose type of natural health remedy. So a little bit about why we should use vibrational essences, or why you might want to use vibrational essences. They are all natural and safe for all ages. They are simple, but their effects can be quite sophisticated. And if you are someone who is on any kind of a personal healing journey and you're doing any personal development work, then you'll appreciate how sophisticated they are and how they can shift the emotions really spectacularly fast, sometimes from the first dose, and sometimes the effects are observed over a longer period of time, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a couple months. Typically a course of flower essences or vibrational essences is used for 21 days, and then take a little break and maybe reassess and see if you're still in that same emotional pattern or not. And you can either switch to a different essence or a different blend of essences depending on how you're feeling. And one of the other reasons why I love vibrational essence is because there's so many ways to use them. So we can use them orally, which is the way that Dr. Edward Bach originally recommended to use them. That's how he used them. Topically, which is one of my favorite ways to use them. And also in the same room or area with someone who needs support. So these are great to even use during the process of dying, where you can incorporate some of these energies of these essences with the person who is sick or needing support. And they don't have to consciously do anything to accept these essences. So there are so many ways to use them, and I love that. And when we're talking about topically, that's everything from massages to baths to using them in diaper creams. You can, my favorite way, and I've talked about this a couple times before, is, and actually I could do a little sample because I have many, many essences here with me tonight. So I am just putting sometimes 2 drops, sometimes 3 drops, depending on what I need. Rub my hands together. And I breathe in the essence like that. It is such a powerful way to receive the energies of that essence. I can already feel it. Wow. And that's funny. I just intuitively picked one called Spirit Connection. So maybe we need a little bit of help from Spirit tonight. But that is such a beautiful way. And it's actually Sue Lilly. She has a book called The Flower Essence Practitioner, I think. And in that book, she talks about how using essences in an olfactory way is one of the fastest ways to introduce them into the energy system. So your body doesn't have to really think about what it's receiving or processing or absorbing, digesting. It just receives the effects. And I just find it so powerful. So try that if you have not tried that way of using vibrational essences yet. And so some of this is, perhaps a bit novel, or perhaps this is something that you're already quite familiar with, but every flower, plant, animal, gem offers specific healing frequencies. These frequencies resonate and they have an impact on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And when they resonate, they actually encourage the body to self-regulate or rebalance itself. So this encourages the body to return to optimal physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual health. So there are so many different ways to use these essences, and I just like to talk about some of the science behind how this is working. So it's actually a physical resonance in the body, and that's how we can have such powerful and effective effects. And so I want to talk about some of the key essences that we can use before, during, and after pregnancy. And in particular, I'm going to mention 2 that can be used for all stages of pregnancy. And one of these is watermelon. And so watermelon is amazing because it can be used for all stages of pregnancy. It also has a real keynote and a real affinity for preconception and for fertility in particular. So that period, even prior to pregnancy, watermelon is an amazing essence, and so is the other one that I'm going to mention. And so watermelon essence in particular helps reduce pain and emotional stress, and that can sometimes even be physical pain during pregnancy. And this is so important because it does affect the fetus now and into the future. So any emotional stress that mom or dad is feeling is going to have an impact on that little growing baby. And so as much as possible, if we can help reduce some of that emotional stress, that pregnancy will go better, birth will go better, postpartum period will be better. And so one of the other amazing things that watermelon does is that watermelon essence encourages a connection with the partner. So this also has an impact obviously on preconception and on fertility, but it enhances that connection, that bonding with your partner, so that you're both going into it with, maybe not full expectation, but some expectation of what the experience is going to be like. So watermelon essence is one of the 2 key essences that you can use during all stages of pregnancy. That's before, during, and after. The other key one that I want to mention, this one's amazing, pomegranate essence. And this is a key essence, again, for all stages of pregnancy. And in particular, it has a real affinity for fertility and preconception. So if you are looking to conceive, consider watermelon, consider pomegranate. And as I mentioned, like watermelon, pomegranate can help enhance fertility when you're trying to conceive. And if you're here for some reason and have no intention of conceiving, now or in the future, fig essence is the one that will do the opposite. So this is working sometimes on a physical level, but more so on the mental and emotional level, and actually just making it difficult for the body to really be receptive to a pregnancy. So You'll use fig if you don't want to get pregnant, and watermelon and pomegranate if you are trying to conceive. Or there are at least some options that you can consider. And so pomegranate as well enhances femininity and enhances your creative and nurturing energies. It really works on the sacral chakra, which is of course where a lot of this creativity and birthing is happening. And pomegranate also works on some physical aspects in the body. So sometimes essences, to some degree or another, whether or not this is kind of a weak appreciation or it's a stronger benefit, but pomegranate essence can help with blood flow and circulation, so enhancing that. It can help with episodes of irregular menstruation. Obviously, if we're starting to address some of the physical, the nutritional, and all the other aspects of a good menstrual cycle, but some of the emotional and mental stuff can be helped address with pomegranate. Cysts, yeast issues, these are just a few of the physical problems that may be helped by pomegranate essence. Pomegranate essence can also have really strong detoxifying effects, so this can be perhaps helpful if someone is coming off the pill or other types of hormonal birth control. There can be a benefit in that way. And obviously we're not using essences in the same way that we would use herbs or other types of physical supplements, so that's just something to keep in mind. This is really all happening at an energetic level. So even though I'm talking about the physical issues, we're really talking about the emotional and the mental aspects that are related to those physical conditions. So again, it's part of my practice and part of my kind of clinical experience is that all physical issues in the body, all physical complaints, ailments, diagnoses, conditions have one or more emotional connections. And so once we can start to address some of the emotional disharmony, some of the patterns in the body that are no longer serving us, some of those physical issues and complaints will start to resolve. So don't think that just because you have a physical diagnosis that you are really tied into having that for life. It's really about how do we start clearing that, and really working on the emotions is one of the best ways that I know to do that. So like watermelon, pomegranate is also working on the sacral chakra, and it's also working on the root chakra, and it can help actually address some of those blocks that may be present in energy flow. So now we're going to talk about a few more essences for pregnancy. And a lot of these essences, if you use essences at all, you've probably heard of some of these, and a good number of them are actually Bach essences. So these are available at most health food stores, and obviously every single essence that I'm talking about tonight you can purchase through me, through my company Inner Plant Wisdom. But this makes it accessible wherever you are in the world. So crabapple is one I want to mention for pregnancy. It helps women really adjust to all of the bodily changes that happen during pregnancy. So all of the things that happen to our bodies during this most sacred time, and as things are growing and changing and shifting and hurting and aching, and this can all have an impact. So crabapple essence really encourages self-esteem and beauty during this period. So to see yourself as the goddess that you are, if that word resonates with you. And if it doesn't, then choose your own adventure, right? Crabapple essence is great for all stages of pregnancy, from the beginning to the end, and of course for postpartum, because there are a lot of bodily changes and a lot of things that happen obviously with our physical appearance post-pregnancy. And really, I think that whether or not you're pregnant now or you have been in the past, you know that postpartum period really is a bit confronting when we realize that our bodies are never again going to look exactly the same. And kudos to you if your body does look exactly the same, because mine does not. Another essence I want to mention is impatience. And this essence, its signature is in its name, but it's for people who feel impatient, anxious, or nervous, especially when things are moving too slowly. So feeling like the end of the pregnancy is just like lasting forever, and the last few weeks just feel like, like the most difficult time, and they really are, really. But impatience essence encourages patience. And this is kind of an interesting use that I like it for. I love it in late pregnancy, specifically when your baby is quote unquote overdue, meaning the baby is not conforming to the regular birthing schedule. And when your healthcare practitioners start talking about different interventions, some of these may be necessary, obviously the health of mom and baby is key, primordial. But there are some interventions that can be considered unnecessary. And so this can give you a little bit more patience with the process and really trusting that baby is going to be born when baby is ready to be born. And not necessarily based on some, simulated calendar of how long a baby should take to grow to maturity. And I say this as the mom of a baby who was almost 2 weeks overdue. He came just before that time, and luckily he did, because of course all the interventions start coming out and I was not having any of it. So I was very committed to my hope and my expectation of having a home birth. And obviously things don't always go the way that we want, but I was very happy to have that experience. And so impatience essence can also be great for birth itself. So if birth is moving too slowly for the needs of the mother or for the healthcare practitioners, this can be a helpful essence, and it can just allow for a little bit more trust in the process and kind of honoring where the body's at and how the body's feeling. And obviously, again, health of mom and baby is most important, but it can be very helpful when, especially in those early stages prior to active labor, when things are kind of moving at a somewhat manageable and comfortable pace. Another essence I want to mention for pregnancy is white chestnut, and this is an amazing essence that helps when we have repetitive or anxious thoughts. It enables us to find our inner peace, to have relaxation and tranquility in our thoughts. It can be very helpful during pregnancy if we're feeling anxious about anything that's going on, especially if you maybe have a more challenging pregnancy or more symptoms of pregnancy. And it can be very helpful when you can't sleep during pregnancy, during those insomniatic nights. And white chestnut is one of the ingredients in something called rescue sleep. That's a blend you may have seen at your health food store, and I swear by it. I love it so much. I have recommended it to so many clients. It's just a blend of different flower essences used for sleep, and white chestnut is obviously one of the ones that's in it. So it's similar to Rescue Remedy, but Rescue Sleep is just slightly different. So now we're going to get to the first part of the mini healing experience, and I'm actually going to send these frequencies to you. Through me, you will receive these frequencies. So all of the remedies that I mentioned under the pregnancy category, I will be sending those to you. So you can just take a couple deep breaths, allow yourself to relax and kind of be present in your body, and sometimes you have to give it a little bit of shit. One thing that I really love is, I just learned this recently, and in homeopathy oftentimes remedies are succussed, but actually flower essences benefit from being succussed too, because these are frequencies, they have a consciousness, they're alive, and so giving them a little tap, 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 and usually I do it 11 times, will allow these frequencies to be part of our awareness. So just take a couple deep breaths, and you can feel these energies affecting you, benefiting you, whether or not you're pregnant now or plan to be, or are postpartum. All of these frequencies can be beneficial. And so that's our first set of essences. Now I want to mention a couple of the key essences for birth. And of course, fear is a big emotional component that comes up during late pregnancy, and then probably also during birth. I don't know if I've met any women who didn't have any aspect of fear during or after, during their pregnancy or during their birthing experience. So for most women, this comes up at some point. And so two key fear remedies. These are both Bach remedies. We have aspen for generalized fear and anxiety, apprehension. Oops. And so aspen, generalized fear and anxiety. So this is when you're not necessarily sure what you're afraid of or what you're fearful of. And technology. And the other key fear remedy is mimulus. And so this is for specific fears. So what are you afraid of? I'm afraid of pain. I'm afraid of tearing. I'm afraid of interventions that I don't want or that I am not wanting to do, but I have to. I am afraid of a bad outcome, or I'm afraid of things going sideways. So those are just, a couple different fears that might come up during a pregnancy or during birth, and specifically. And so I highly recommend having both of those on hand. If you have no others, those are some helpful essences. Another beautiful essence I love is borage, and another plant that we can grow in our gardens. And this is a beautiful essence to empower us. It gives us the confidence and the courage to do hard things, which I really love it. So it's also really helpful for depressed moods, or if we're feeling low and perhaps not capable. And for most women, again, there's a period during birth where they may not feel like they have the energy to keep going. And so this will give us some confidence and give us a little boost to be able to get to the end and make it to the end. And so this essence is very strengthening and supportive, very nurturing energy. Another one I want to mention for being helpful during birth is hornbeam. This is another Bach essence. It's great for motivation, conquering procrastination. It's that Monday morning feeling, that Monday morning blah feeling. And this is another great one for low moods, but it can help motivate us and energize us, especially if we're feeling tired and worn out. Like just that feeling of, like, I just can't go on. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tapped out. Hornbeam essence can be really helpful. And it helps us tackle challenging circumstances and obstacles, a difficult day, a difficult experience. It's a beautiful essence that I used after my dad died, and it just gave me the motivation to put one foot in front of the other and to get some tasks done on my list, and it worked quite quickly. It was, it has a special place in my heart, that's for sure. Because this essence really showed me the power of essences when I needed them most. Okay, so olive essence is the Bach essence for addressing the exhaustion of long labors and birthing experiences. And it's also great during postpartum to help us regain the energy we need to care for a newborn. It helps us feel well supported and nourished. This would also be an amazing one for postpartum too. And really, it should probably be in that section, but alas. And so now we're going to activate this little blend with all the birth remedies in it, and this is all the healing frequencies of those flowers. So and 11, and we're going to spray this one. Whew. I'm going to send you those essences so you can feel the power of these, and just take a couple deep breaths to receive. Wowee. Woo. Wow. That one actually had a proper spray. So I'm sending these to you wherever you are in the world, if you're open to receiving them. Such beautiful remedies. Love to the flowers. And so our final section is on some of the key essences for the postpartum period. And so we have elm, and elm is a Bach remedy that's easy to remember because it's for overwhelm. Sometimes these things don't have to be complicated, right? They can be simple. Impatience and elm, those are two that are pretty easy to remember. So elm essence is for those who feel overwhelmed by their personal or professional responsibilities. When you have a newborn at home, it feels like you have a million responsibilities and not enough hands on deck, and just a lot going on. Got a lot going on, whether or not you're breastfeeding or not, and then the recovery from childbirth, whether or not that's a more traditional birth, or if you're recovering from a C-section, there is a lot going on. And so elm essence can be really helpful for helping us handle hectic days, finding balance, really deciding of those, 500 priorities that we have for the day, which ones are most important, with maybe self-care being at the top of the list and good nutrition also being key. And so elm essence can help us meet our own needs as well as those of a demanding newborn. I still feel the energies of the birth really, really powerful. I hope you're receiving those too. I hope you're feeling those. Another one I want to mention is a Star of Bethlehem. Isn't it so beautiful? This is actually a picture from my own garden. And it's so incredible to me that this showed up in the garden literally after I had a traumatic and difficult experience back last spring. So this popped up in my garden. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I am being shown that I can definitely benefit from this. And she's so simple. She's such a simple type of flower, but you can see the sacred geometry, and she just grown wild in a garden that really is at the front of the house, and it's just full of weeds. I haven't done anything with it yet, so maybe I won't now. But Star of Bethlehem is another ingredient that's in Rescue Remedy. So if you've used that before, you have probably felt the energies of Star of Bethlehem. It's a powerful Bach remedy for comfort and care, especially if your birth was stressful or traumatic in any way. And even if your birth, you don't consider it to have been stressful or traumatic, this can just be a helpful one for helping your nervous system acclimate to the postpartum period and dealing with a demanding newborn. And again, it's used for shock, grief, and stress. And during the postpartum periods, it can help us process some of that trauma, whether or not the birth is recent or not. So if you had a baby 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, this essence can still be helpful. This is for any trauma or stress that may still be lingering in the energy body. So don't think that just because your birth isn't recent that it can't benefit. If you consider yourself to have birth trauma, this is an essence that you could likely benefit greatly from. And I want to mention pomegranate again, because specifically pomegranate has some really interesting uses during the postpartum period. And so pomegranate can help when there's some difficulty with either giving or receiving nurturing or maternal energies. So I've heard from a couple clients who had difficulty connecting with or really bonding with their newborn. And so pomegranate essence is one to consider to help us kind of move into that more maternal type of feeling. And pomegranate is also really helpful for women who have conflicts around nurturing children and nurturing their career. And I can tell you I definitely needed this one. I still need this one. Having a toddler at home, I don't think that process or that decision gets any easier, especially when you're self-employed like I am. It's really about finding that balance. So pomegranate can be helpful in those circumstances. And then another potential use for pomegranate is that it can help women adjust as their children change in age. So as our kids are getting older and we're realizing they're not the babies that they once were, pomegranate essence can be helpful in that case too. And walnut, another amazing essence. I lived on this essence during the pandemic. Mostly because it has the presence of being a remedy for energetic shielding and energetic protection. So that's one of its main uses. Its second main use is that of being a transitions remedy. So that means it's great for parents and baby who are adjusting to, a family of 3 or more. It is helpful for siblings who are adjusting to a new family member of 4 or more. And then it's also great during the postpartum period for navigating all the changes that happen after birth. So you can use it for several weeks or several months. And then lots of other uses if your bottle lasts that long, but it can also be helpful for when mom is going back to work or kids are starting school. So these are all transitionary periods. For the death of a loved one, walnut can be another great one. Transition, just thinking transitions in my mind, but it's considered a threshold remedy, so walnut can be very helpful in those cases. And if you have a little empath at home, that would be the reason or the kind of focus I would use it as energetic shielding. So people who are quite sensitive to energies. And so the third and final experience, I will share all of the postpartum essences with you. We're going to activate it. Almost forgot. And here you go. I'm sending those energies, those healing frequencies to you, wherever you are in the world. You could take a couple deep breaths and just allow those energies to come in contact with your energy body and to do the work they need to do. Maybe you'll sleep better tonight. Maybe you'll just feel a shift in your heart. Maybe you'll have more energy to chase your little ones around. Hopefully you're receiving these frequencies. They're quite strong. A couple more if you need a little bit more. Ooh. I don't know about you, but I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. I don't know where that expression comes from, because babies don't sleep all that great, but it does sound funny to say. And so you've obviously received a lot of frequencies all at once. So be mindful and kind of tune into your body. And if you experienced any physical sensations or feelings, awesome. I love it when that happens. It happens pretty often for me. I love seeing it in other people. Pay attention to any changes, any insights, or special information that comes through in the next few days. And also pay attention to your dreams, any events that happen in your life or coincidences, which really are never a coincidence after all, but is it perhaps a message? And questions, the kind of common one I get is, where do I buy these? So as I mentioned, all of these essences can be bought from me at www.innerplantwisdom.com. Some of the Bach remedies can be purchased at a health food store. And of course I do custom blends. I do all kinds of different blends. I have, at least 45 different ones that I've been working on for the last few months. So I just had a new idea come to me this morning thanks to a friend. So I'm going to work on that soon. And really the challenge is just getting them up on the website. But anything you can think of or benefit from or dream of, really, I can concoct a custom blend. So something to keep in mind. We talked a lot about how essences can be used, but I do have a reference or resource on my website specifically on 50 plus different ways that you can use essences. So all of the topical, oral, and misting type of uses that we can use essences for. And it's really about introducing them into your life and into your home on a more regular basis. So I think I have upcoming events. So as I mentioned, I have a couple workshops coming up. So these would be similar to this experience of a workshop plus healing experience, because I like this format. I hope you've liked it too. And so I'll have one on women's health. This is at the end of the month. I have one on children's health, and then also I am planning to do one on mental health. So the children's health and the mental health ones will be posted on Eventbrite probably within the next week or so, now that I've kind of been particular about set the dates for them. So those will be posted on Eventbrite. So if you're not following me on Eventbrite, please do, and then you'll see all the notifications of when the new events come out. I was thinking today maybe I'll do one for first responders too. So if you have ideas, topics, themes, please don't hesitate to send me an email or follow me on Instagram. I love to hear what people are actually interested in learning about. So these are the upcoming ones for us so far, and like I said, you can find those on Eventbrite. Women's Health is currently posted, and the other two will be posted in the next few days. So here's my contact information, innerplantwisdom.com. I have a ton of freebies, and if you purchase anything from me, a single essence or a custom blend, you get access to this very special client portal that I created, and it has a ton of other free guides and resources. Lots of, a couple different YouTube videos, and then lots of written resources, because I am at my heart a writer, so for me, I love to have something tangible that I can refer to. But if you're more of a video type person, then there are lots of opportunities to expand your knowledge in that area as well. So I hope you have enjoyed this flower essence healing circle workshop / healing experience. And if you did have any other, sensations or cool experiences that come up from receiving the frequencies, I would love to hear about them. So please feel free to send me an email anytime. hello@innerplantwisdom.com, and find me on Instagram too, because that's where I'm most active. So I try and share stuff on stories and share posts, and really it's about education. So that's what I love most, sharing the power of these amazing vibrational essences and flower essences. So I hope you've enjoyed this experience, and I hope you'll join me for another one again in the future. So again, I'm Ashley Grange of Inner Plant Wisdom, and I wish you a very, very wonderful day, night, and evening. And thank you so much for being here.